In its Manifesto 2015, the Government of Guyana committed itself to the convening of a commission of inquiry into the operations of the Guyana Sugar Corporation, and with the support of a multidisciplinary group to review, analyze, and recommend the way forward for the Guyana Sugar Corporation and the Guyana sugar industry, including options for infusing critical investments and the optimum utilization of its valuable capital infrastructure. To this end, Cabinet appointed a commission of inquiry tasked with development planning for this purpose, comprising individuals, all of whom had extensive knowledge of Guysuco and had both local and international experience in sugar technology and/or their respective fields of specialization. The consultants were required to work closely with the interim management team of Guysuco in undertaking the assignment. In addition, they did consult with other Guysuco officials in the field, factory, human resources, and finance departments, and had access to all technical and financial records thereto appertaining. They also liaised with private cane farmers as required. The assignment was scheduled to be completed over a period of 92 days, commencing July the 1st to September the 30th, 2015, and for the submissions of their initial findings to the Minister of Agriculture for review by Cabinet within 70 days of commencement. Following the review process, the consultants were required to submit detailed recommendations for consideration by the government. Mr. Speaker, the Guyana Sugar Corporation has been producing over recent years less and less sugar at greater and greater unit and total cost, while its unit sale price has been declining. The logic of such a sequence is that Guysuco has reached a point of no return. It can remain open for business over the short to medium term in only one of two possible ways. These are either through the provision of regular official bailouts and/or increased borrowings and indebtedness based on government guarantees. Clearly, neither of these is sustainable, given Guysuco's present indebtedness. Sugar prices, particularly from the European Union, have declined markedly. Poor production and productivity, a declining skills and experience base, labor shortages, and rising costs have all resulted in the industry becoming a chronic loss maker, with ever-growing dependency on the government for cash infusions if it is to survive. This is an untenable situation. Previous efforts to reorganize the industry, going as far back as 1994, were rejected. The last attempt at a major restructuring was in the 1980s, with the closure of Diamond and Leonora estates and the diversification into aquaculture, rice, and legumes. While this initiative could not be faulted conceptually, its failure was due to a number of factors, including inadequate planning, lack of funding, competition for scarce resources, and not enough expertise or commitment in the non-sugar activities. This development was undertaken largely by sugar personnel who were acquiring new skills, but which, at the same time, proved detrimental to the core sugar operations through a diminution of skills in that area. The LVI factory was subsequently closed during the first decade of the 21st century. The industry has come full circle since the 1980s. The government of Guyana wishes to develop a plan to bring the industry back to profitability and assure its long-term environmental and economic sustainability. And the consultants were tasked with development planning for this purpose and taking into consideration the above stated considerations. Mr. Speaker, as an update on the present situation, on June the 4th, 2015, an interim management committee was appointed by the new government, replacing the previous administration of Guysuco. The IMC, in assuming office, made the following observation. Morale across the industry was low. Staff felt threatened and insecure. a climate of fear existed. There was much uncertainty about right from wrong. The atmosphere which prevailed was do what you're told or find another job. Of course, jobs of comparable pay and conditions were not available, and those who could not migrate remained and did as they were told. Cost control was given low priority by the then leadership, with the result that costs and debts were going through the roof, cash flows severely depleted, and operating losses plummeting to unprecedented depths. The politics of decision-making was more important than making sound professional decisions. The corporation was still suffering from seriously poor marketing decisions by the then chief executive, foregoing a 3-year agreement with Tater and Lyle Sugars for one of 1-year duration at a time when prices were in decline. The situation was compounded by selling forward 48,000 tons of sugar on the futures market and not locking in a price, which left the corporation exposed to the vagaries of the world market price. Personnel at both the managerial and non-management levels had their services terminated for reasons which could best be described as vindictiveness, political, and the abuse of authority. Senior personnel were transferred between locations, even though they may have been in that location for a brief period, for what can best be described as political reasons. The procurement systems were blatantly corrupted by the leadership. The West Demerara estates were run down in particular ways. Cane supply in both estates were poor. This was compounded by wanton bringing forward of canes to meet production targets. It was later discovered that Rose Hall Estate had political cells operating to the detriment of the estate. The same may be said of the leadership of Skeldon Estate. Key departments were marginalized to the point where the head office, agriculture, and factory operation department were ill-equipped to adequately support the operations on the estates. The human resources department was reduced to a robotic, mechanistic state, totally unequipped to support an industry of 17,000 employees. The finance and procurement departments were seriously undermined and compromised by the actions of the then CEO. Agricultural research was marginalized. There is a serious shortage of skills and experience throughout the industry in both head office and on the estates. There was no rhyme, reason, or logic in the manner in which industrial relations were managed. However, Mr. Speaker, with the introduction of the Interim Management Committee and a new Board of Directors, there was a great feeling of relief by many members of Guysuco's management team at the appointment of the IMC. Guysuco's management was encouraged to function professionally. Regular meetings of the Management Committee recommenced after a lapse of years. At this forum, managers were encouraged to express their views regarding operational issues and participate in the decision-making process. Key performance indicators were established for each estate, which were monitored on a daily basis by the IMC. This pressure was maintained throughout the crop, and significant benefits resulted as corrective action, where required, was taken daily. Renewed emphasis was placed on cost control and cash management. A firm and principled line was adopted by the management team in its dealings with the unions, and attempts by some workers to maintain the status quo. Informal meetings took place between the IMC and leadership of the GAU and NASI unions. This resulted in relative calm until October, when GAU was motivated to call a strike. A similar situation evolved in November. On both occasions, GAU achieved nothing, while the workers lost wages, and in some instances, they did not achieve the qualification criteria required to benefit from incentives. The corporation has started to communicate directly with the workforce, and it was recognized that GAU and its representatives could not be relied upon to provide the workers with the facts or the corporation's position. The government and board have been very supportive and allow the management team to get on with the job. This was evident to members of the management team across the industry. A human resources management advisor was appointed to assist in upgrading the skills of the HR function, including mentoring and empowering the HR practitioners. Disciplinary matters were handled in a fair and just manner. Experienced Guyanese retirees from the local chin industry are being brought back to troubleshoot and assist in training. Generally, Mr. Speaker, staff has been responding well to the new administration of the industry. Morale is considerably better, and there is a growing sense of achievement, optimism, and self-confidence, as evidenced by the industry achieving and surpassing its production target for the first time since 2004. Mr. Speaker, the sugar industry, with its almost 17,000 employees and approximately 60,000 dependents, is a major source of foreign exchange for the Guyana economy, and is too valuable to the fortunes of Guyana, both socially and economically, for its future to be taken lightly. The government of Guyana has, therefore, taken the decision to facilitate the widest possible consultations with all stakeholders in the charting of Guysuco's future. To this end, and to commence the process of maximum consultation with the people of Guyana, the very comprehensive report of the Commission of Inquiry is now being laid before Parliament for due consideration.